It's pretty wild to think that 70 years ago, artificial intelligence was just a phrase cooked up at a summer workshop. But today, it's a force that is completely reshaping our world, and it's happening at lightning speed. And that brings us to a really critical moment, the AI at 70 Summit. It's this huge global effort to finally sit down and write the rules for our future with this technology. And that really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. We know AI is rewriting our future, but who, exactly, is writing the rules? This isn't some niche techie debate anymore. No way. This is one of the biggest governance challenges of our time. So, let's start with what I'm calling a 70-year reckoning. We're going to dive into why AI's insane progress is forcing us to hit a global reset button on how we manage it. This right here, this is the whole problem in a nutshell. The technical side of things, what AI can do, is just blasting forward way faster than our ability to agree on what it should do. And that creates this really dangerous gap between what's possible and what's wise. And listen, this is not some abstract problem for the future. AI has already left the lab. It's now woven into the very fabric of our society. We're talking about our economies, our governments, even our national security. It is here right now. So, how did we get here? Let's take a look at this incredible 70-year journey, all the way from Dartmouth to Dubai, and see how a theoretical idea became this global reality that we're all trying to get a handle on. I mean, just look at this timeline. It shows you the unbelievable acceleration. Back in 1956, at the Dartmouth workshop, AI was just a concept, a field of study. Fast forward to today, and it's shaping practically everything. And that leads us to April 2026 and the AI at 70 Summit, which is this really intentional effort to just pause, take a breath, and try to reset its path for the long haul. And you can see how the entire focus has just completely flipped. In 1956, the big question was, hey, can we even make a machine think? But in 2026, the conversation is all about responsibility, governance, and making sure humans are in the loop. The stakes are just so much higher now. And all of this brings us to what's really the central conflict, the global governance gap. Right now, what we have is basically a messy patchwork of different rules and competing goals all over the world. It creates a ton of uncertainty. And here's what that mess looks like on the ground. You've got some countries in an all-out sprint for commercial growth, seeing AI as the next gold rush. Then you've got others hitting the brakes, trying to put up guardrails and focus on regulation. And somewhere in the middle are all these emerging economies just trying to figure out where they fit in. The result? Well, it's a system with no clear accountability, no shared playbook for what happens when things go wrong. Okay, so how in the world do you fix a problem that big? This is where the AI at 70 Summit comes in with a pretty audacious idea, a plan for 2096. The goal is to build a whole new blueprint for the future. 2096. Just let that number sink in for a second. Most policies are planned for, the next election cycle, maybe a decade out if you're lucky. This summit is trying to think on a 70-year timeline. That is a completely different way of approaching a problem. This is the big idea they're working with, long horizon planning. Think about it this way. Instead of just building a temporary shelter for a storm that's coming next week, you're designing the foundations of a city that's meant to last for a century. It's all about creating durable institutions, not just grabbing for a quick win. It's about being resilient for generations. And here's the most important part, how they plan to do it. This quote says it all. Ethics as structural design, not a side conversation. This means ethics can't just be a checklist you look at after the fact. It has to be baked into the very architecture of AI from the absolute beginning. So you might be asking, why Dubai? Well, it's a really strategic move. The UAE is kind of uniquely positioned between the major AI power blocks. It has ties to Western research, but it's also pouring money into its own systems. This lets it act as a neutral ground, a place where these tough debates can happen without automatically siding with one superpower's way of doing things. All right, let's bring this all home and talk about shaping our shared future. What is the summit really telling us about the next chapter for AI? Bottom line, this summit signals a huge shift in thinking. It's an attempt to move away from all these scattered, fragmented debates and toward a real, long-term global alignment on everything from research to rules to economics. And ultimately, the goal is actually quite simple, but also really profound. It's about making sure all this amazing technological progress is grounded in human judgment and a sense of shared responsibility. The real aim is to make sure AI serves us all, creating stability and value for everyone, not just a quick advantage for a few. And this really is the perfect way to end. The AI of tomorrow isn't some far-off fantasy. It's being designed right now, in meetings and labs all over the world. So the question we all have to ask ourselves is, what kind of future are we actually building?